It happened on New Year's Eve, about 7 or 8 years ago. I was driving my girlfriend at the time, Sarah, home from a party far outside town, the kind of place where phone signals disappear and the road feels forgotten by the world. It was well past midnight. A thick fog had rolled in, heavy and white, swallowing the road ahead. My headlights barely cut through it. The world felt muted. No cars, no wind, no sound, except the steady hum of the engine and the heater struggling against the cold. Sarah was asleep in the passenger seat, her head resting against the window. I remember feeling jealous of how peaceful she looked. Me, I was exhausted. My eyes burned, and every mile felt longer than the last. The radio played quietly, something slow and familiar, until it suddenly crackled, just for a second. My grip on the steering wheel tightened. I told myself it was nothing. Fog messes with signals. Fog messes with your head. We were about 15 minutes from her house when the fog thinned. For a brief moment. That's when my headlights caught something standing in the road. At first I thought it was an animal. Maybe a deer, maybe debris, but it didn't move. As the car rolled closer, my stomach dropped. It was a woman. She stood perfectly still in the middle of the lane, facing my car, like she had been waiting for me. She wore a thin, dirty nightgown, far too light for the freezing winter air. Her bare feet were planted on the wet asphalt. Her hair hung forward, tangled and matted, hiding most of her face. I slammed the brakes. The tires screamed as the car skidded to a stop. Sarah woke up with a gasp. "What's wrong?" she asked, then froze when she saw her. The woman didn't react. She didn't raise her hands. She didn't step away. She just stared. That's when I noticed her right hand. She was holding a large kitchen knife, the kind used to carve meat. The blade reflected my headlights, flashing bright white. My mouth went dry. My heart hammered so hard, I could hear it in my ears. The woman slowly lifted her head. Through the strands of hair, I saw her face, twisted in pure agony. Her mouth was open wide, stretched, as if she were screaming with everything she had, but no sound came out. To this day, I still see her in my dreams. I call her the woman in the fog, because that's where my nightmares always begin. Sarah grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Don't stop," she whispered. "Please, don't stop." Every instinct told me the same thing. I didn't belong there. I didn't want to know why she was standing in the road, or what she wanted. I checked the side of the road. No shoulder, just darkness and a shallow ditch. I took a deep breath, turned the wheel slightly, and tried to drive around her. The moment my headlights slid past her face, she moved. Not like someone stepping aside, not like someone startled. She moved like she had been waiting for that exact moment. And what she did next turned my blood to ice. I thought the worst was over, but that's when she attacked. The moment I tried to steer away from her, the air inside the car felt like it vanished. I didn't even have time to shout. As I turned the wheel to pass her, she didn't step back. She lunged. I heard a sharp metallic clink. Metal slamming into metal. Her knife struck the side of my car door as we passed, hard enough to leave a mark. She wasn't trying to scare us. She was trying to stab the car. The road was slick with ice, and my sudden swerve was a mistake. The tires lost grip instantly. That horrible moment hit, the moment you realize you're no longer in control. We were spinning. Sarah woke up screaming, her hands clawing at the dashboard. The world outside turned into a blur of white fog and black shadows. Trees flashed past the windows like ghosts. Then, without warning, the car slammed to a stop at the edge of the road. Silence. For a few seconds, everything was deathly quiet. I could hear the engine ticking, and my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. My hands were numb on the steering wheel. I looked at Sarah. She was shaking, tears running down her face. "What just happened?" she cried. I couldn't answer. My throat felt locked. I just lifted my hand and pointed through the windshield. The car had spun completely around. We were facing the direction we'd come from, and she was still there. Standing in the middle of the road, my headlights lit her up perfectly. She was closer now, maybe 30 feet away. Her body twitched as she started moving toward us, dragging one leg behind her. The movement was wrong, jerky, unnatural, but she was fast. As she came closer, she made a sound. Not a scream, not a cry. A low, wet, guttural noise, like something growling deep in its throat. I could see her face clearly now. Her skin was gray, stretched tight like old leather. Her eyes were wide open, staring straight at us. But there was nothing behind them. No fear, no emotion, no soul. My hands shook as I reached for the gear shift. I missed it the first time. She was closer now, 10 feet away, raising that long silver blade above her head. Sarah was sobbing beside me. "Please, please go," she begged. I slammed the car into drive, floored the gas. The engine roared. For 1 second, I thought we'd escaped. Then something heavy crashed down onto the roof. The entire car buckled. Metal screamed above our heads. And whatever it was now on top of us. She wasn't chasing us anymore. She was already on the car. I felt like my lungs collapsed. The moment she jumped onto the hood, the world snapped into slow motion. She didn't just land. She clung to the metal, like an animal that refused to fall. Sarah screamed, sharp and desperate. I couldn't even blink. The woman was crouched on the hood, inches from the windshield. One hand was wrapped around the windshield wiper so tightly, the metal started to bend. In her other hand, she held that heavy kitchen knife. Then she pressed her face to the glass. A greasy smear appeared where her skin touched. Her eyes were the worst part. Too wide, too dark. Her pupils looked blown out, like two deep pits that didn't reflect light at all. There was no rage in her expression, just emptiness. Then she raised the knife. Crack, crack, crack. She slammed the blade into the windshield again and again. Thin white cracks spread like spider webs across the glass. I knew that if it shattered, she'd be inside with us. Sarah was crying now, hiding her face with both hands. Please, please don't let her in," she choked out. My hands locked around the steering wheel. My knuckles went pale. I hit the gas and started swerving hard, throwing the car side to side, trying to shake her loose. But she stayed. Her fingernails dragged across the hood, a sharp scraping sound that made my skin crawl. Her body slid a few inches, then stopped, like her grip was made of iron. "I have to get her off," I whispered. "I have to get her off." The road was slick. The car fishtailed. My tires fought for traction. Still, she kept staring at me through the cracked windshield, her blank face never changing. Then I saw a straight stretch of road ahead. I pushed the car faster, faster than I should have in that fog. Then, without warning, I slammed the brakes with everything I had. The tires screamed. The seatbelt snapped tight and punched my chest. The car lurched forward, and the woman flew off the hood like dead weight. She hit the road hard and rolled, tumbling across the wet pavement until she stopped in the middle of the lane. For a second, she lay face down. I threw the car into reverse, hands shaking so badly I nearly missed the gear. I kept the headlights locked on her, waiting. Sarah whispered, barely audible, "Is she dead?" I didn't answer, because I saw her fingers move, a slow twitch, then another. She pushed herself up in jerky, unnatural motions. Like her body didn't work the way it should. She turned her head toward us, and that's when she smiled. Not a normal smile, a stretched, hungry smile. That didn't belong on a human face. I didn't wait. I floored it. But when I glanced into the rearview mirror a minute later, my heart dropped, because the back seat, behind Sarah, was no longer empty. We escaped the road, but something came home with us. I didn't stop. I didn't even tap the brakes until we were miles away from that foggy stretch. My heart was thumping so hard I could feel it in my throat. Every few seconds, my eyes snapped to the rearview mirror, because I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw for that split second. A shape in the back seat. I kept telling myself it was my imagination, a shadow, a trick of fear. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Sarah hadn't said a single word since we drove off. She sat stiff in the passenger seat, staring out the side window like she was watching something move in the fog beside us. Her face looked drained of color, pale under the weak glow of the dashboard. The silence inside the car felt thick, like the air itself didn't want to move. When we finally reached her house, it was close to 2:10 a.m. I pulled into the driveway, but kept the engine running. Doors locked, hands still shaking on the wheel. Under the driveway light, I stepped out and looked at the car. The windshield was ruined, spiderweb cracks spreading across the glass from where she'd hit it. Deep, jagged scratches ran across the hood like claw marks, as if something wild had tried to tear its way inside. But the part that made my stomach twist, there was no blood. She had flown off the hood at nearly 40 miles an hour. She hit the pavement hard enough that I heard it over the engine. And yet, not a single red drop, not one smear, nothing on the white paint, nothing on the road. It didn't make sense. I turned to Sarah, my voice shaking. "We have to call the police," I told her. "Right now. That woman, she wasn't normal. She's still out there." Sarah finally looked at me, and something about her eyes made my skin crawl. They were cold, distant, like she was looking through me instead of at me. "Shut up," she said quietly. I blinked, confused. "What?" "If you call the cops," she said, still calm, "they'll blame us. We were coming back from a party. They'll think we're drunk. They'll say we hit someone," and made up a story. Her voice was steady, too steady, like she had already erased the last 20 minutes from her mind. Then she leaned closer and placed a hand on my arm. Her fingers felt ice cold, not cold from the night, cold like metal left in a freezer. "It's over," she said. "Just go home and forget you ever saw her." I stared at her, unable to understand what I was hearing. A woman had just tried to kill us, a knife had nearly come through the glass, and Sarah was talking like it was a minor traffic incident. I drove home in a daze. That night, I didn't sleep. Every creak in the house made my whole body tense. Every time the wind pushed a branch against the window, my heart jumped like it was trying to escape my ribs. I lay in bed staring at my bedroom door, waiting for it to slowly open. The next morning, I checked the local news every hour. I expected a headline: "Body found on rural road," or "Woman in nightgown causes crash." But there was nothing. No reports, no witnesses, no mention of a wreck, no sign that anyone had been out there at all. It was like the road had swallowed her whole. I tried to convince myself it was over, but a few days later I was cleaning out the car, trying to calm my nerves by doing something normal. That's when my fingers brushed something shoved deep into the crack of the passenger seat. Something small, hidden, something that Sarah must have dropped. I pulled it out, and the moment I saw what it was, I felt that same cold fear crawl up my spine all over again. Some secrets don't stay buried, they wait. After that night, nothing in my life felt normal again. My apartment felt wrong, like the air itself was heavier than it should be. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me turn my head. Every shadow felt like it was watching me. 2 weeks later, I broke up with Sarah. There wasn't a big fight, no shouting. I just couldn't look at her anymore without seeing that cold, empty expression she had in the car that night. When I told her it was over, she didn't cry. She didn't argue. She just nodded, almost like she had been expecting it. She packed her things quietly and left. When she hugged me goodbye, her skin felt cold again, just like it had in the driveway. Even after she was gone, the fear didn't leave with her. Strange things kept happening. Some mornings I'd wake up and find my front door unlocked. Once, I found dried mud on the floor of my car. Even though I hadn't driven it in days, I started checking my mirrors before I slept. I stopped turning off all the lights. The moment that finally broke me came about a month later. I took my car to a small repair shop off Highway 9 to get the windshield replaced. The mechanic was an older man, greasy hands, tired eyes, someone who had clearly seen everything. But when he called me over, his face had gone pale. He pointed near the front wheel well. Jammed deep into the metal was a small piece of fabric. White, dirty, torn. I recognized it instantly. It looked exactly like the nightgown she was wearing. The mechanic carefully pulled the cloth out. Something fell from inside it and hit the concrete floor with a soft clink. A key, old, rusted, wrapped with a small plastic tag. When I picked it up, my heart nearly stopped. There was an address written on it. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, laptop glowing in the dark. I typed the address in and started digging through old local news archives. Articles from 10 years ago, buried deep in forgotten pages. I found it. A short report dated New Year's Eve. A woman had been attacked in her home just a few miles from that road. She ran outside screaming for help, wearing only a nightgown. According to the report, she was hit by a car. The driver never stopped. She died in the cold before help arrived. But that wasn't the worst part. Attached to the article was an old photo. The woman looked normal, smiling, human, and standing right behind her, smiling at the camera, was a younger version of Sarah. They were sisters. I never saw Sarah again. I don't know if she planned that night. I don't know if she knew her sister was still out there, waiting. All I know is this. Some secrets rot in the dark until they find a way back into the light. Now, every time I drive at night and see a shape standing on the road, I don't slow down. I don't stop. I just keep driving and pray that whatever is waiting in the fog doesn't decide to follow me home again. Because once you've seen what's out there, you realize your car doors were never really locked to begin with.